Greetings, folks. What's going on? Jason Damico here with the Jason Damico Show. Thank you so much for tuning back in. It's been a while since our last episode. I want to thank our special distributors once more, Simplecast, iTunes, Spotify, iHeartRadio for carrying the show. And tonight, I should say, we've got a great guest. We met a few weeks back on a film project together, and he is the VP of the Modern Crowd Conglomerate and fellow actor, podcast host as well. Please welcome to the show my friend Luiji Massanga.
What's going on?
What's going on, man? I know I'm good, and it's good to have you here. I know we ran into some pizza issues before we got going.
Listen, I ordered a large pizza, a large vegan pizza, and I was expecting a large vegan pizza. And I will not say the brand of this company, but I'll open the box and show you that this is the size of the box, and this is the size of the pizza. So there's a slight frustration happening with me right now.
It's the true test of mental health during Mental Health Month, which you
man. Actually, there's something I didn't tell you during the pre-show, so I'm about to show you something.
Let's get into it.
My friend Dan, he's a real special artist, and I opened up to my roommate as well, but Dan already knew this. I have some anger issues that are just etiologically based on the things I've been through, as well as just my demeanor from my just family, right?
Past experiences.
Precisely, and so my nervous system turns on and lights on at some times that I can't help it, right? It's ready to go. And my friend Dan, he drew some shoes for me. And this is my left shoe, pretty much represents how my brain decides to just go into its own waves when anything triggers me, right? You can even see the, right? I can't help it. It's happening. And so it represents it really well. It's vibrating. It's like, and this is the other shoe, right? I can't help what triggers my brain, but I can't help what I do with it. So like the haze is when I'm trying to catch myself and not that anger take over me, but like it vibrates. It's energy. It's fire. It's not anger necessarily. It's just high energy. And that's just something that I have in my life. And there are thorns that kind of lead up to kind of a garden. And then it represents me growing as kind of like a tree or my own living being, even with that vibration present.
Right. I gotta ask real quick, and we'll dive right into this. I had on here on my notes, spirituality, gratitude, happiness. I remember when we were on set, you said something to the effect that you were talking with somebody. I can't remember who it was. One of the fellow talents on set, and something to the effect of I'm going towards where I want to go, but I'm choosing to be happy with where I'm at now. And and that stuck with me. We were all in the same room, and I just kind of, you caught my ear, and that stuck with me. And I'd love to just open conversation up on that while we're on this. I thought that was really, really interesting.
Sure, man. So I read a book called The Happiness Advantage, and it talked about being able to be at a good mental space no matter the situation you may be in. Meaning, if you have a big presentation in 2 hours, it's probably not a terrible idea to watch a funny YouTube video 45 minutes before the presentation. It's not a bad idea to allow yourself to exhale before something big. You know, like being on set was really exciting. It was like the hard days, like this is really cool. But the days I'm not on set, I can still feel that. I can still be okay with the fact that I can still keep building until I'm consistently on set every day. You know, and being happy with where I am is just understanding that I have the opportunity to keep creating and keep building.
Right.
You know, into what I want my acting career to be. You know, like this conversation, this show is just based from conversations we had on set. It was like, hey man, I'm building this. Like, of course, let's see what we can do from it. And we become kind of superhuman when we're able to keep doing that with the people we meet, because we bring out the best in each other in that way. If we're able to say, I I can be happy and grateful with where I am now, and I'm just keep building as I go.
That's great. That's great. And that's called the happiness advantage.
Yeah.
Interesting. And that's a book.
I mean, the book didn't say all those things specifically, but it just talked about being happy with where you are, and
Right.
it gave a pretty good description as to understanding how our brain works and why it works the way it does.
Yeah, I've been reading a bunch of books lately, a lot, and there's one I just read a page last night that talked about success is, or another actually happiness is created in the mind now, and then success can create happiness later through the process. But I really think it is. I think the happier you are, the more successful you're going to be, and
Absolutely.
that really didn't start clicking with me until probably the last few years. So kind of mid-20s, that started clicking. And
I
of
mean,
course, you've got to have the hustle mentality, but you got to know when to kind of turn it off and have the correct demeanor when just talking with folks in general. There's a lot that goes into it.
yeah, from what I've heard and from what I've read, in your mid 20s to find that silver lining is very young. And so to for us to be able to kind of have that insight is it's a blessing. I'm really grateful for it because
Yeah.
yeah, absolutely, um, there is something to be said and hearing and understanding people in their 40s and 50s saying, yeah, find a way to be happy with where you are now, no matter what age you are, and grow from there. Because to me, it's a glimpse into the future of, because, to be here for 27 years is how old I am. For someone to be here for 50 something years, it's double the time I've been here. The things they've seen, said, and experienced, there's a lot of value and a lot of weight in what they're saying.
Right. Right.
Their situation didn't make them happy. They had to be happy in their situation to change it. Was a really nice gem to pick up in this development process.
That's great. Well, it sounds like you and I are on similar paths with the
Yeah.
self development, and that's exciting. It really is, especially just knowing what I've been through in the last few months. I think the pandemic, now that we're coming out of it, it brought a lot of things to the surface that I don't think were present beforehand.
That's real. That's very real. Spending time alone really brings a lot of stuff to light.
Well, let's get into real quick your beginning stages, how you got into the creative and your acting career. And I believe you said you were from New York originally, or had some.
Yeah. I was
Yeah.
born in Queens. I was born in Queens before I moved to Port-au-Prince as a child. So I don't even remember moving to Port-au-Prince. My first born in Port-au-Prince. For my birth certificate is from Jamaica Hospital.
Got it.
Yeah, so I was born in Queens, but I lived in New York after college for 3 years. I spent a year back home, then went off to New York for 3 years to study acting. And I graduated from acting school in 2019, and then got fired from my job in 2019 and came to Atlanta in 2020, right before the pandemic.
Right.
Yeah. So you're asking about stages, the stages to how I started creating?
Yeah. Well, how we could start with influences. Who got you into learn who inspired you to go to school for acting, first of all, or was it an innate thing?
Well, my current roommate, his name is Tori. He was the first person to essentially tell me going to acting school full time will do you a huge favor and advantage if you want to get into this industry, because it'll teach you how to actually act. Like go about it and see what are these techniques that these actors are using.
Mm-hmm.
And a gentleman by the name of Leon Craig was a substitute teacher in my high school, but he was also a very successful model in the 90s. So I gave him a ring. I said, hey, I'd like to get into the industry. What should I do? And he gave me a whole rundown for the whole year I was back home. I spent a year back home after college, and Leon just gave me a preview of what the industry was like from his end. being, because models in the 90s, male models in the 90s that were very successful were in the celebrity crowd. They weren't known by name, but they were known by face.
Right.
So it was a really cool. And so just understanding the industry part of it, understanding the passion part of it. Like I told you, my nervous system is very quick, and I'm a ball of energy. I'm ready to go. Like, let's do something, or I'm really calm. I'm either seated or go, right? And finding a way to really play that instrument in a healthy way, and feeling at peace with just all of who I am, which is what acting really allows me to do. That brought about this new sense of reality for me that allowed me to say I can really create the things that people around me could laugh or think about. I mean, it's not impossible. It's what it taught me. It's fully possible to bring the moments in life that can have you crying, laughing onto the screen, onto an understood improvisation technique. It's like, oh, I understand human behavior in a slightly different way.
Right, right. What would you say would be the biggest do's and don'ts on your journey so far? If you could, say one or two do's, one or two don'ts. If someone called you up at this point and asked for some advice, I think that'd be pretty interesting to hear.
Do's and don'ts. 1 second. My roommate was knocking on the door. I was telling him I'm still in the interview. Don'ts. Don't text while on an interview. Do's. Do's. Diligence, patience. Allow yourself to actually start falling for this art, right? In terms of the industry, acting wise. Because acting and media are kind of like, so I don't know. So I'm just gonna stay with the acting.
Yeah. Whatever you feel, man.
Sure. The acting, I think there's a really special thing about just putting in your hours. It's a craft, it's a skill. And so the do's I would say is keep learning how to act. Keep becoming a better actor each day. Keep listening to what your professors are saying. Keep listening to what the friends who have your best interest in mind are saying in terms of techniques that are useful to let's say to myself or to whomever I'm speaking to you, right? Don't try to put step 10 before step 1. Don't try to go to Z before A. Don't try to say, well, these are the things that should be done before I take step 1, because those steps aren't really real. They're more so arbitrary. They're just things we've seen other people do. They don't necessarily define our journey. And I've started realizing that more and more as I've grown into this industry. How my acting career is going to look vastly different than any other actor that I'm going to meet. There's going to be a lot of similarities, but how it happens is going to be vastly different.
And individuality is major.
Yeah, be yourself. You have
major.
I have to be myself in this industry. Yeah.
Well, again, I'll use myself as an example. Just really started walking into it probably in the last couple of years, in the sense that you have your influences, you have those people that you aspire to emulate, but it gets to a point where your niches are going to be your niches.
Yeah.
And you're going to be you. So that's an amazing time when that happens. And I feel like I'm smack in the middle of it, which is exciting.
Yeah.
So I agree with you. Let's talk about the podcast real quick. As far as the modern crowd, I was checking out the website. Really, really great stuff. I actually listened to a little bit of the Surrender episode, and I thought that was really interesting. And would love to, just love to hear about kind of the work you're doing with them, the VP position, how you got into it, and we'll have the link in the description below in the box, so folks can go check it out.
Sounds good. Yeah, man. So I was a broadcasting major in college, electronic media and broadcasting. And it was something cool to do. And it was really close to acting because I just always wanted to act. But then I started really liking it. I really started liking announcing, and I started liking hosting morning shows because it's fun. It's, again, being yourself on air.
Right.
And right? It is refreshing because there's this level of honesty that we can have that doesn't necessarily need to be spoken every day, but it's so refreshing to hear. And radio creates that magic. Interviews create that magic. They just do. So I majored in that and started kind of falling for it. I was like, this is really awesome. And in the year back home, I had one of those perfect college experiences, like president of fraternity, part of so many prestigious organizations kind of thing. And I was like, oh, a job out of college should be no problem. And then I landed none of them. Granted, I did email a potential job prospect, not in a sober mind. So that wasn't the smartest thing I've done. And that could have been my job out of college, but
it wasn't part of the master plan, my friend.
It wasn't part of the major plan, obviously.
That's right.
Right? But yeah, man, I was emailing radio conglomerates that I'd clean their bathrooms. I was letting them know that I would be willing to do anything just to be in that
just
state.
to start.
I ended up writing articles for a media conglomerate, and I was still trying to get my foot in the door. And there was still like, no, we can't just get you in the building just to get you in the building.
Wow.
But then again, I had to learn proper assertiveness. I had to learn what I'm really after. What can I communicate off the beginning?
Yeah. How to present yourself.
Precisely. Yeah. Those are things I had to learn in my early 20s.
And I'll interject real quick. It's like, why the hell didn't they teach you really that in college? Because I went to a great school, and nothing against the university that I went to, but this just seems to why is this gap being missed so often?
Yeah,
spending X thousands of dollars per semester, $50,000-$100,000 in a 4-year period, and your parents are taking out loans, or you're taking out loans. I just don't get it.
Yeah, it's also weird because there's a slight disconnect.
Yeah,
like our parents' generations loved their kids to death, but I haven't realized them to be very trusting of our generation as a whole. And so it's just what I've realized in terms of our finances, business, and what we're building.
Right.
We're not yet seen as wise. And that's not anything I'm against or mad about. I mean, it angers me, but doesn't make me want to take extreme action.
Do you think it was the same relationship back in their day, where their parents, you think it's been laddered down?
I think it's slightly similar, but this age that we're going through is a loop, right? Like last century was a huge loop. We had the railroad system came about.
The Industrial Revolution.
The Industrial Revolution was huge in the 1920s. Now that we're in the 2020s, we're seeing the tech boom. So I think that 100-year gap in between that was a slightly more gentle wave than what we're hitting right now in 2020, 2021, because of just how crazy things have gotten, Right.
It's like a whole other revolution with social media, Web 2.0, Web 3.0 now coming out. I mean, the phones are listening to us. Everybody knows it. Yeah, it's everybody's got a profile, man.
Yeah, and I think we're growing to that age where we can be the responsible. Well, we are the responsible adults, but we can be seen as the responsible adults to the generation, so we can work together. Because we're all living here, and we're all in this tough time in terms of what's happening everywhere. But if we come together, there's a lot of magic we can create, and that's why I thought it was so special to be on set, because there were people of all ages just creating. That was really cool.
For sure. And speaking of bringing people together, with the Modern Crowd, you run a podcast on there, correct?
We do. So Kelvin and I host the Modern Crowd podcast. So we have sometimes he does it alone, sometimes he invites our guy G in there, but him and I often, it's very similar. It's like a partner style podcast. We just interview a bunch of different artists. The Modern Crowd conglomerate is what pulls in and has the resources for other podcasts. There's one of them called the Black Picture Podcast. You listen to the Surrender. There's a bunch of different podcasts underneath just the conglomerate. Gotcha. What would you say are the future plans for you and the conglomerate in the next few years? What would you guys like to see happen? I think you said it earlier. it's in terms of what I'm creating, because what Kelvin's has created, he's a creator of it. What he's building is really magic, man. Like he has an extreme skill and he knows where it's going. What I as a VP am doing is listening to what Kelvin's vision is and executing on my end what I can to keep building it. So my vision for the next 5 years, I can't really impose it on the company because the company's building itself, right? And we're surrendering to that growth. We're surrendering to understanding what we all can build together. It's Kelvin's baby, so we're like, yo, man, so what can we do? But if something's a bad idea, we have the freedom to tell them, yeah, that's terrible. But it from its beginning stem to where it's growing now, it's a through line as to like what else can we bring from what we already have.
Right.
So the vision for it as the executive vice president, as what I can say is we're just gonna build with what comes. The people that come in, the artists we're able to interview, and as a whole, we're just gonna keep growing, man. That's it.
Very cool. Very cool. And I'll migrate back to I always ask all the actors that are on the show this question, which is if you could elaborate on your best set experience and your worst set experience. You don't have to name any names.
Sure.
But always love hearing, quick stories.
Oh man, best set experience. Well, this is a little biased. It was my first one. It was my first set experience. It was in 2019, and I was just so excited because it was 4 people from different countries who spoke French, and we had to be a family. And we learned about each other and then went on set and acted as a family. And when they called break, we all spoke English again and just learned about this guy was from Tampa, she was from there. She was very similar to our experience in Novel Love.
Right.
That was my first time doing that. And so now we had to create an environment of us being family with having never met.
Very quickly. Yeah.
Yeah, but it became so authentic because we were all from different places, but we were brought in by this language. I was like, oh yeah, this is where my French background is. But that can be done with anything abstract, and it was magical. That was my first TV show experience.
Well, and that's a great point because that's a huge advantage. Anytime and that's part of the niche, carving out the niche for you as an actor, as a talent. For me personally, the music has been helpful over the years where you'll get cast for roles because you can play or you can sing. So the fact that you were able to get cast for that, being able to speak French fluently, and I heard you say a little bit on Novel Love, and that was great.
Thanks,
to really
man.
hear it authentically, you don't hear that often.
Thank you, man. Yeah. And the flip side of that question, worst set experience, the show itself was not a bad show. It was an amazing show. The set experience that was so terrible was that we started about 4 hours late. 3 or 4 hours late. The lead was livid. And he did not he didn't hold any sort of shots. He walked in there he was like, I'm fucking tired of this. Like he went in and we were there till probably about 2 a.m. I remember being just exhausted.
Yeah.
All right, that's a wrap for the day. I got about 0.03 seconds of screen time, and a little over $200 for what was supposed to be like a over $500 day. So I was just about it.
Yeah.
So
it happens.
My energy was just drained. I was sad.
Yeah.
I was actually late to that. I was actually late to that. To being on set, but I was actually early because I didn't see any hours. So.
Yeah, it happens. It happens. It's. I mean, talk about. You got to be a glutton for punishment. I say to anybody, if you're gonna write a script like my friend who's extremely talented and doing very well for himself, but you got to be a glutton for punishment for it. Any type of production, and running a pot, whenever you're running something. But on the monolithic scale of a film set where you have the script, you have the writing, the directing, the production, all the categories, the wardrobe, the catering, sound, lights, gripping, post-production. I mean, the list goes, accounting, I mean, everything.
Yeah.
It is just, it can be a nightmare.
It can be. It shouldn't be anything for one person.
Right.
It's just because that's the value of building something with the
Teams.
team. Yeah. Want to go fast, go long. Want to go far, go together. Right.
I like that. I like that.
Yeah. My former boss told me that back in 2019. But it's very true. It is very true. We can't build any sort of thing that grand alone, because to be both an accountant and a manager alone takes away 17 hours of our day. So add 5 more positions, we're not human anymore.
No, there's no way. There's no way.
We're not human anymore.
Yeah.
And so it's good to find like-minded people who have similar ambitions to bring us to where we can go.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. I was going to ask you real quick before we move to the last segment, and then we'll kind of wrap things up. Drama versus comedy for you. Any thoughts? Any preference?
No, man. They're two sides of the same coin. So I love them. I love them both. Because Meryl Streep is funny. She's really funny. But she's an amazing drama actress, and so I don't know if I have a preference.
Well, it's funny because some dramas are hilarious.
Exactly.
And they're not, and it's not like they wanted them to be, but there's just great moments that come up. And then there's comedies where there's some depth. And I think a lot of that goes into either A, the script, B, the performance, or C, the chemistry between what's going on with the actresses on screen. So I agree with you.
Yeah. So that question is like saying heads or tails, man. 50-50, you're gonna get a different answer.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Well, we'll move on to the shootout portion of the show, which is I just say a word and you say the first word that comes back. It's industry related, and there's no right or wrong answers. It's just kind of like a popcorn answer.
Let's play.
Camera.
Phone.
Sure. Let's see if I can read my own writing. Story.
Board.
Podcast.
Voice.
Oh, it's good. Script.
Writing.
That's what came to my mind too.
Yeah, I couldn't say another word because it just flooded.
Yeah. Travel.
Companion.
That's good. Lighting.
Cues.
Ah, interesting. Directing.
Traffic.
I'll add. Oh, so this is actually kind of funny. I'm going to add one more. The last one I ask everybody, but I'm going to give you one more before that.
Okay.
French.
Fries.
All right, and then I literally ask everybody this, and it's pizza.
Pizza. Come on, man, you're killing me. I got a pizza I'm not getting a refund for. I just showed you the brand. Sorry.
The word is pissed.
Yeah.
That's it. That's just the word right now.
When you said pizza, this is what happened to my entire body.
Well, so no joke. That is the last. I always throw that in at the end because nobody really expects it, and then you'll hear certain. Usually, it's like pepperoni or whatever.
No, man, I want my full pizza. That's what you said.
I'm pissed. I want my full pizza.
I want my whole pizza, man. I want more slices.
You do me a favor. Whenever you write a script, just make sure that's in there. I don't care if it's a featured extra that comes in.
I got you.
Damn it. I want my pizza.
It really is something that can be genuinely enraging. I came home to look. I gotta get my Zoom set up.
Man, just
Jason,
go for it. Just go, man. Tap into it. Let's get
I don't want to throw the pizza. I'm too hungry to throw the pizza across the room. But that is my impulse. I'm like, no, I want to throw it across the room, and like too hungry. So I gotta
listen, if you do it, just make sure the cameras are rolling so you can use it for your reel.
Gotcha. Like this guy, something's really touching this guy.
Yeah, you got it.
Pizza, man. I'm hungry.
Yeah. Well, we'll let you go. I got one more question for you, which is, and by the way, this has been great. Thanks so much for taking the time. I know it was crazy getting in from traffic and being on set and the pizza incident, but if you could go back in time to your 15-year-old self, knowing what you know now with your experiences, what would you tell him?
Keep going.
Oh, that's great. I love it.
High school was really tough for me. It was really, really tough. And so if 27-year-old Luigi could come up to 15-year-old Luigi, it's like, you're gonna be all right, kid. Like, just stay the course. Just keep going.
Yeah, my high school years were not fantastic.
Yeah,
they were definitely a little tough, and still working on some things from then. But without it, the life path wouldn't have been what it was. So yeah, and it pushed. The adversity pushed. So, that's all you can do. I appreciate your gratitude, your positivity, and your attitude. We're going to have your links in the description box below. If anybody's driving or at the gym or whatever, just tell them your handles real quick so they can
Oh,
hear
yeah,
it.
sure thing, man. Sure thing. And thank you. It's at LUIJI, but 2 underscores before that. So it's at __ LUIJI. That's my Instagram. The Modern Crowd is at THE Modern MODERN CRWD. There's no O in it. So it's at the Modern CRWD. That's the Modern Crowd. And we'll be working on an event at the end of August in Atlanta. So we got a lot of work we're putting together for the end of the summer, and we'll keep you updated on that page if you're interested in seeing what's going on.
That's great. Yeah, that's right. You are in Atlanta.
Yes, sir.
So next time I'm down there, I'll have to say, hey, we'll catch up for sure.
For sure, man.
Awesome. Sure. Well, you guys been listening to the Jason Damico Show. Definitely check out Luigi's information down below or to the side, depending on which platform you're on. Give the Modern Crowd a follow as well, and we will see you guys on the next episode. Peace.